If you ever have kids one day, let me just pre-warn you. Anything you encourage them to do, they're not going to do. They're not going to do it. You can tell them until you're blue in the face, this is going to be great for you. Don't care. Don't want to do it.
Okay, mate.
This learning to swim thing, you might want to do it. Could save your life one day. Don't care. Looks scary. Well, yeah, it can be, but that's why you learn. Don't care. I'm just pre-warning you now. Okay, COVID then, because we've touched on it a couple of times, and I've mentioned this in a couple of other shows, because I have a slightly different take on COVID than a lot of people, because I think it's politically, or at least socially, quite a it's a hard thing to say, because I think for a lot of people it genuinely was a damaging time, and a time people will lament, but I used it as kind of a constructive time in my life. I used it as an opportunity to press the reset button in a lot of ways, rather than sort of stand still and let the world figure out how it was going to churn me and spit me out at the back end of this whole thing. For you then, because like you say, you're a young man, really young, and like the idea being that, you know, when you're in those formative years and you're trying to figure out your place in the world, you're trying to figure out your vocation, you're trying to get going in life, you're trying to build your skills, you're trying to get noticed, you're trying to get that opportunity. In what ways do you think COVID was a positive, and in what ways do you think it was a hindrance? I mean, there's probably obvious hindrances, but like from a football writing perspective, football effectively shuts down for a period of time. There's a number of controversies. There's also, you know, an attempt with the Super League. There was an attempt to have a seismic shift in the culture of the very fabric of football, being it's not about supporting who you grow up loving. It's about supporting the teams that have a shot at winning. And that then falls through. So you've got, on the one hand, like some generational content. This is stuff that's never going to happen again. Versus, yeah, but what I wouldn't give for the reps of just going to a football game, or covering a transfer window or two, or just having sort of a bit of a more standard pace of life. How did you find that, and how do you think it's affected you?
I'm going to say if COVID didn't happen, I would not be here today. Like, not in terms of like I'd die, but like if COVID didn't happen, like I would be a lot more novice in what I do. As you said, and I'm being honest, I'm very, very thankful. And it was a very, very difficult time for a lot of people. I lost a couple of family members to COVID. But in terms of my life of being purely selfish, I would say that it has totally and utterly enhanced me as a person. So I was 17. I've just been accepted into university, and today is my first day of my final year, by the way.
Congratulations.
Which is a bit mental. So I just got accepted into university, and they said, and basically it was I think I'd been accepted in December. I was still at sixth form, still doing A levels. I hated A levels with a passion. It was the worst time of my life by a mile. Was my A levels. I'd just broken up with a girl who I was with for a year. It was a really, really difficult time just before COVID. And I was like, my parents were like, look, you have to give A levels a shot. You have to try your best. But I was like, I really cannot be fucked. I've got a unconditional offer from university. I hate doing my A levels. I'd already dropped down from 4 to 3 to 2 A levels. And I was like, it's still too much. Like, because I wasn't passionate enough about the English language, which is a bit crazy thinking about now. I wish I'd gone back and done it harder. But the fact is, exams got cancelled, like within about a week of COVID lockdown happening. So my dad, the first words he said was, "Yeah, lucky bastard." So the first words he said, and then I was like, right, what am I going to do? And Dad was like, oh, you could carry on with that winning mentality thing you do. And I was like, yeah, I could do. I want to learn some new skills though before I go to uni. And that is where my mate Haas comes in. So I'm sure you watched the interview, and my mate Haas, who now works at Football Daily as a junior production assistant, and he's also worked for BBC for Squawker, and he was a massive mentor for me. He's about 25, 26, but like he was young enough that he could relate to me, but old enough like that he'd already had a few years in the industry. He just got through university. And I was like, right, what do I need to do in order to prepare myself best for university for this September of 2020? And he was like, you need to learn how to design graphics, and you need to learn how to edit videos. And I was like, what? Really? And he was like, yeah, that's one of the things you have to do. So I buy an Adobe subscription, which to this day churns out on my bank account every month.
It's a rookie move, and you hate to see it. He paid for it, people. God, come on now.
I paid for it, and I got Photoshop. I got Premiere Pro. I started to learn After Effects. I've still not mastered that, but those are the main ones: Photoshop and Premiere Pro. And I self-taught myself everything, and that is where I really benefited, because as soon as I got to uni, I was a year ahead of everyone. And those people won't be afraid to admit it, because I'm very good friends with all of them now, and I've helped them. But like, I was a year ahead, because I put myself in that position. And if COVID didn't happen, I wouldn't be like anywhere near this level of skill in either of those. As well, writing wise, it gave me an opportunity to think, what can I do? So towards the sort of mid 2020, about May, June time, I applied for Fansided and to write about Liverpool, and I did. Called Rush the Cop. It was my first ever paid writing gig ever, and that I did until the January of the next year, I believe. And it was such a really incredible experience, because the guy who ran it, Russell, was a sound fellow, and he basically said, right, this is how you're going to do it. Yeah, he was like, I know you're 18 years old, but I believe in you. You know, you can do this. And it was my first bit of pocket money and the first sort of representation of where I could go. So yeah, I'm back on COVID. Like, it was the best thing that could have ever happened, which is a really, really bad thing for me to say, I know.
It's not, though, because you say, like, okay, let me put it to you in these terms, because I do understand what you're saying. COVID in of its, look, I just want to clarify, we're not advocating for COVID, and I'm not advocating for a global pandemic. What I'm saying is, do you have a go at the national lottery when everyone that plays it loses, versus when one person wins? No, because the one person who wins has has benefited from the opportunity. Everyone else hasn't, and that's a shame. But the fact is that one of these days, everyone might play the lottery and everyone might win it. It's statistically impossible, but it might happen. And in the same way, COVID was the same for everybody. You go home and you just sit. What do you do in that situation? Do you use it as an opportunity to go, this is great, being paid to sit at home, do nothing? Or, like you and like me, and like I'm sure dozens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of other people go, do you know what, while the world's sitting still, I wonder, can I use this as an opportunity to do things that I just haven't had time for, or just would not be viable in a normal environment where, like you say, family, friends, girlfriends, work habits, just traveling. Like the fact that traveling wasn't a thing. Okay, cool. I got to build my own world, man. I got to build ways of getting out of my own cabin fever here. Do you know what I mean? And that was an opportunity. And like I say, if I'm lucky, I didn't lose anyone to COVID. I'm sure I'd have a much different opinion if someone had passed away during COVID that was close to me. But I was fortunate in that respect. I'm still playing Bulldog with COVID, still ain't caught it. So yeah. I'm doing all right. But for other people, I understand that it's a hard pill to swallow. But it is that thing of, we're not thinking of it from the perspective of the disease. We're thinking about it from the perspective of, right, what was the time spent doing? And this is why when I was researching you, that I found that, again, you had this kind of, one of the questions I have for you actually is, what are the directions that your writing is taking you in, unexpected directions? Because I think, like you say, you sit down and you start as you mean to go on, and your enthusiasm, your intelligence and your hard work are what's taking you, because you're affording yourself the opportunities to go into these positions. So I guess my question is, in your mind at least, what's the most unexpected opportunity that's arisen as a result of a lot of your endeavors since starting, going back as far as starting YouTube, or to now where you've got a more focused idea of what you want to apply yourself to do?
Anfield Agenda, I'll say that for a fact. It was the biggest surprise I ever had. So the whole, and again, links back to COVID. So Total Sport started in COVID. I assembled a team of very much older people than me. I was the boss. I didn't tell them some of them how old I was, because I didn't want to. There was 6 of us, 5 of us actually. It was me, Mariam Maz, Has Karim, Jacob Tanswell, and a guy called Adrian, who I no longer talk to. But the other three. So Jacob is now writer for The Athletic. Haas works for Football Daily, and Mariam writes for The Guardian. So you can tell I had a little bit of an eye for talent. And they learning from them, I basically just managed to get myself a few opportunities. A guy called Bence Boschak, he's a journalist as well. I did a little piece with him, it was called he had a site called First Time Finish, and we at Total Sport did a little collaboration with them, and then he got me in contact with the people at LFC Transfer Room, big account on Twitter, and they wanted to start their YouTube, and they asked me to head it up, which was brilliant. So that's where that really started. I could talk about Liverpool, post-match reactions, watch-alongs, like transfer news, and I was with them for 18 months. And about 8 months, I think it was September time last year, maybe October time last year, I got a DM from Connor from Anfield Agenda saying, "Hi, want to come on a live stream because we like your stuff." And I was like, yeah, cool, amazing. It just came out of absolutely nowhere. I was a little bit in 6 and 2 3s with it because a little bit and ahhing because I was really loyal to the transfer. I really still value loyalty completely. And I was loyal, and I was like, look, can I do this? Because it could be massive for me. And they were like, yeah, of course you can. Go on, go ahead. And yeah, it just came out of absolutely nowhere. And 11 months, well, nearly a year on, it's been hands down the best opportunity I've ever had, and I would never forget the fact that they've given me, of all people, a chance. Like, it's very, very lucky. I would say they could have chosen a lot of other people. They could have gone down a direction where it was all so at the moment. So if you don't know, like, for people who don't know, it's me, Craig, and Paddy Murphy. Craig is very, very loud, very outspoken. Paddy, very, very similar, both Irish lads, and they wanted someone to sort of play devil's avocado with them, and that was me, and it sort of is the perfect blend and contrast. We all get along very, very well. Sometimes gets heated, but honestly, the best thing that's ever happened to me in my career so far.